Guys, obviously Justin and Warren on top table, none of it's embargoed, so any questions, please?
Warren, first of all, a lot of changes as expected. How many of them were pre-planned, and how much did that Fiji game have an effect on your selection?
Probably in the forwards, it was, we've pretty much gone to what we expected to do, and then it was just a matter of seeing what happened in the Fiji game. So George North's got a bit of a sore ankle that he took into the game, so he's been rested. We wanted to rest Liam Williams. Jonathan Davies took a bit of a knock on the knee, and then obviously with Dan Bigger as well. And then we've had to have 2 players back up in Hadley Parks and Josh Adams. Ideally we would have liked to have given Josh a rest, but that hasn't been the case, and that's why we've ended up going with a 6-2 split with the 2 9s covering, and Gareth went on to the wing at the end of the game against Fiji, did a good job. 2 quality players in our 9s who can cover a number of positions, and we can move guys around as well.
Is it a bit of a juggling act trying to protect some players who have knocks and protecting them from potential injury as well?
Yeah, it's a bit of a juggling act with the 4-day turnaround really. So we knew that right from the start that we were going to expose a few players. I've spoken before the World Cup that probably this game we'd only go into it with 110 anyway. So looking for cover there as well. So it's been hard with the short turnaround, but the thing about it is that we've got a forward pack that are all fresh, and they're pretty excited, and they're really looking forward to the opportunity. And the message to the players for the game in Uruguay is that the door's not shut. There's opportunities for players to go out there and impress and stake a claim for the quarter-final spot.
You mentioned a few of the injuries that you suffered the last few days. How were Jonathan Davies and Dan Bigger in particular?
Yeah, Dan's symptom free, so he's going through. He's been closely monitored by the medical team, and he was symptom free the next day, which was great. Jonathan's took a knock on the knee, and he's just been monitored by the medical team as well. So there's a couple of backs are a little bit sore and bruised from that physical encounter, which you'd expect. But apart from that, the forwards are all in pretty good health, which is a positive.
You mentioned the 10 cover after that in Hadley and Hallam. You named it. Will it be one of those 2 in particular?
You'll just have to wait and see. I think so. Look, we've got options in terms of who can cover 10, and that will depend on how the game's going. And it could be one of the 9s stepping in there as well. You can play 10 as well, Justin, can't you? So, look, we've got some options, and that will depend on the game. And like I said, we've got a couple of players we'd like to rest up a little bit and get off the field, but that's depending on our performance, and we've got to go out there and start well. And Uruguay's last game, and they're going to be wanting to finish on a high, so we need a good performance, and particularly a good performance up front.
I know a lot of fans would like to see Justin in the back line. Do you envisage having to make some kind of unfamiliar switches, some forwards in unfamiliar positions?
We spoke about that on the weekend during the game, whether we could have put James Davis there as well. He's obviously with a lot of his 7s experience and be out there, and Justin is pretty comfortable playing in the wider channels as well. So we're confident that we've got cover with players and being able to move around, and if we need to do that. So but we've got to make sure we do a job and do a job early on against them. And it's challenging for us with such a short turnaround, but that's what World Cups are all about, and we've spoken about creating as much strength and depth as we could in the squad over the last 3 or 4 years. So the squad's in a good place mentally, and like I said, there's a group of players who are excited about the chance to go out, and a lot of them their first game of the World Cup, and so we're expecting another tough game, but we're also expecting a good performance from our side.
Can I just ask you about the typhoons and how they affected the World Cup as well? It will have a knock-on effect on Wales now. I was just wondering what you thought of France or England. Is it an advantage having that extra rest, or would you prefer to be in your position and battle hard?
Look, to be honest, it hasn't affected us from a playing perspective. So we knew right from the start that there was a possibility that if the typhoon did come, that games could be called off and teams would share the points. So we were all aware of that. It's disappointing for the fans, disappointing for some of the teams involved as well. So it's but we're just concentrating really very much on ourselves and hoping to finish top of this group and then start thinking about a Sunday quarter final.
Warren, on that, do you just feel incredibly lucky that you, just by fluke of race being in the country, you're unlikely to be affected by the typhoon?
Yeah, I think everyone probably feels a little bit lucky by that. Depending on who you were probably potentially up against. It could have been a team that you may have expected to beat, and if you've missed out on points, then possibly it's going to cost you, and that's obviously disappointing for those teams that are involved with that. And probably got to feel for Italy a little bit. Probably they weren't considered a team likely to beat the All Blacks, but we've seen in this World Cup with red cards, you never know what can happen in games, and they can definitely change the course of a game, or with yellow cards as well. So yeah, look, you've got to feel sorry for the players involved, and particularly for the fans as well who miss out on that opportunity. But but like I said before, we were well aware of the potential hazards of typhoons coming in and what the consequences were.
If you win on Sunday, you know you're going to play France. They would have not played a match for almost 2 weeks by the time that quarterfinal comes around. How does that affect a squad that don't have any game at all for a long time in the World Cup?
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting dilemma for them, and depending on what they do over the next few days in terms of their preparation. Some teams will welcome it because it gives an opportunity to freshen up and to get everyone back on the training pitch. And for us, it's about continuing the momentum and building on that. And we'll go into, hopefully after Sunday, start thinking about getting down to Awita and bussing down there, and then preparing for that Sunday game against France. They're going to be very tough, but we've got to do a job on this Sunday first and making sure that we get that win. Otherwise, it's England.
Warren, after the Fiji game, you said that you might get someone to look at Dan independently. Did that go?
The medics, I think he's seen some other people. The medics have spoken to a number of people in consultation. So, but like I said, he said he feels really good in himself, and he's come through symptom free, and he's just going through the HIA protocols at the moment. So they've consulted with a number of people in Dan's situation.
Justin, you captain the Ospreys, but to captain your country, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, no, it's obviously a great honour. Lucky enough to play for them, but obviously to lead the boys is something special.
And what sort of captain are you? You've done before,
I don't really talk much, shall we say, but I think when something needs to be said, you say something, but obviously just try and do your actions on the field more than anything.
Fancy a back line right now? That's all.
Whatever it takes for the team, really. If you've got to play in a position you don't want to play in, but it helps the team, then you'll do it.
Warren, I think you've had 14 captains now in your 11 years or so. You spoke the other week about how Justin's grown in terms of the way he speaks and everything. What have you made of his progress over that time you coached him?
Yeah, I think we had a conversation during the Six Nations, and I know how hard it was on him, when sort of having Sam Warburton being picked ahead of him. But I thought he had a brilliant Six Nations. I thought he was outstanding from a performance point of view. Just got a really good balance, and I spoke to Justin about that. How impressed I was with him in the Six Nations. He seems to be like a good wine, getting better with age. He's into his early 30s, so look, he's great around the group. We know how skillful he is as a player, not just a good 15s, but obviously been an outstanding sevens player as well over his time. So we're very lucky to have him in the form that he's had, and I know he's disappointed not to play against Fiji, and we spoke about that. But we wanted to make a couple of changes. We're very fortunate with the strength and depth we have in the loose forwards, and part of the reason was having some experience for this Uruguay game and some leadership, and that's why Justin's doing the job that he is for us on Sunday.
Another guy that's back in the team, Alan Amos, I don't think he's played the wing for a couple of years for you, played a bit more at fullback.
Yep.
Obviously he's had injury trouble and stuff like that, which is like having him back in the team.
Yeah, look, Hallam's been definitely, he's been around the squad for a number of years, but he's probably been one of the most improved players in terms of his game understanding. He's got some very good footwork, some good skills. He's got that left foot as well. I mean, ideally you'd like to give him a run at fullback, but we've had a conversation with him about how important the number of touches are for him, just getting his hands on the ball, going looking for the ball, defending well. He's really matured in terms of his talk and communication, his chat. And the other thing is the message to the players has been put your hand up and stake a claim for quarterfinals, and we're not afraid to, if performances are good enough on Sunday, there are opportunities for players to go and do that, and we've done that in the past, and other sides that have been involved with. It's not just an idle comment. It's if someone does go out and is outstanding, we will look at them in terms of the opportunity for the following week.
Warren, I know it's early days, but are you hopeful that John will be available for a quarterfinal?
Who's that?
John Davis.
Yeah, hopefully. He's been managed at the moment. The knee was pretty good the next day. It's had a little bit of swelling, so he's been icing it regularly. So he gets a little bit more time. So hopefully that keeps improving over the next few days.
What do you think about the Uruguayan team? What have you seen about them so far?
Yeah, it was obviously a great win against Fiji, and they deserved their celebrations. So it was great to see. It was good for rugby as well. And I think they've defended exceptionally well. They look like they're a fit side too. And in the games, they've been tough. They a pretty good set piece, and they like to play some attacking rugby. So we've got to make sure that we go out there with the right attitude to do a job on a side that thoroughly deserves to be here at the World Cup.
What's the situation with Caddo? Is there any chance that he might be cited after that yellow card?
No.
So he's fine with that?
Yeah.
Warren,
His wife made sure of that.
Warren, on the typhoon situation, a lot of people have spoken about the potential moving fixtures, moving games. Can you just give us an idea of the amount of logistical work your team put into even getting a squad to a location like this, and then how almost impossible it would be for any team to just move halfway across the country?
Yeah, it's. I think for us, depending on what time we go, but say normally the day after a game, then all the players, management have to get all their bags down. They are put on a truck and by DHL. So you've got to make sure for the next day you've got your own personal kit and the right kit, so the bags go off. And then the next day you're probably travelling, whether it's by train or we bust up here or you're flying. So to move around in a short period of time is pretty tough and pretty challenging to do that. Particularly, I suppose, as teams are getting so close to quarter-final stage, it might have been a little bit easier earlier on, and maybe that those things needed to be factored in before the tournament started. It's difficult to change policies halfway through a tournament. If we knew that typhoons were going to come and there was enough notice and you had to move, then those are things that you've got to accept. So I can understand how teams, as they're getting so close to the quarterfinal, are a little bit reluctant to move halfway across the country and change venues and timings, and that is a bit challenging. But like I said before, we knew the situation beforehand. We've been lucky at the moment. We had a couple of warnings of potential being affected for trainings, but luckily that didn't eventuate for us. But logistically, it is a tough challenge to change things and to move in a short period.
Brilliant, well done, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, so.
And Baz will ask you that question at the back of the room.